Hello and welcome to the SEO Friday show on Wednesday with Barry Schwartz and Josh Bachynski. Say hi, Barry.
Hi, how are you?
This week we're going to be talking about Penguin 3, but before we get to that, just a couple disclaimers and notes. The SEO Friday show is a lively debate show. Where Barry and I debate. Barry's usually wrong, just so you're aware. Barry's typically wrong in this show. And we will pull no punches, we will avoid no topics, we may not be politically correct, so I warn you in advance. And also, we will argue facetiously and even sarcastically, and so we may take positions that we don't even agree with, just to debate them, just for the sake of it. Or we may agree with them entirely, so it's usually pretty easy to tell when I agree with a position or not. Okay, so with that in mind, Barry, do you have anything you want to say before we start talking about Penguin 3?
How was Moz?
Moz was lovely. This last week, the reason why we didn't have a debate last week is because I was at Moz in Seattle, formerly SEO Moz, for those people who don't know. Moz changed their name. And I recorded 2 Whiteboard Fridays, and I got a tour of the office, which was awesome. It's a really interesting looking office. You can see got a little Moz ball out when I was there. And he's hanging out with a little treasure goblin. For those of you who know what that is.
One up there.
Oh, there you go. Well, now we're part of the club. Now we're cool, or at least now I'm cool because I have the Moz plushie that you have. Okay, so this last 2 weeks has been nuts in SEO. For those of you living under a rock, Penguin 3 has been released. It was released October 17th. And there's some debate as to whether it's been tweaked and re-released and things like that. And so I thought it'd be a good idea for us to kind of talk about, recap what's going on with Penguin 3, and then maybe get into a little bit of a discussion about it. What do you think there, Barry?
You're the boss. I'm just here to be wrong.
All right. Good. You finally admitted it. Okay. So I posted on my website here some of the facts, some of the Penguin facts, and Barry, feel free to get your website up there too, and we'll see whose website is better, my website or your website on Penguin. But so here's some of the Penguin 3 facts. That the initial rollout was October 17th, and that was apparently global. On the 21st, both John Mueller and Pierre Farr did finally post that Penguin was released. That it affected less than 1% US queries, and that it was, quote-unquote, a multi-week rollout, which in my opinion is a sneaky way of saying they're still tweaking and testing and playing with things, because there's no reason for Penguin to have a multi-week rollout unless they drastically change things. On October 24th, so just this last Friday, John Mueller announced in a Hang On Air that it was an update. So there was some controversy as to whether this was a refresh or an update. John Mueller did say, I asked him specifically, was it an update, and he said yes, it was an update, but he had no other information. He would not confirm for sure whether or not it would be a faster refresh cycle, nor did he, as previously promised by Gary Iles, and he did not even, nor would he even mention if it would be refreshed soon, or if after they're done with this tweaking, it's going to be another 6 months, another year. He didn't mention anything like that. Barry did report on the 24th that there was some bigger SERP shifts, and so he speculated at that time that there might be some Penguin tweaks going on, maybe another refresh. Barry, did you want to mention something about that? Barry, are you awake? Barry, did you freeze? These either...
I hear you. I don't know.
Can you hear me? Hello, Barry. Oh, we may have technical difficulties. Anyway, I'll keep going. Barry, if you can eventually hear me, chime in anytime you want. As you well know, I can just debate with myself and just blame it on you. Oh, my speakers are on. Yeah, my speakers are on. I should be able to hear you. Okay, well, we can have a debate without being able to hear each other. Maybe if you want to back out and jump back in, that'd be fine too. Anyway, finally, so here's what I want to talk about is both white hat and black hat sites have complained that they see negative SEO in this update. I've mentioned that to John Mueller, and he did say it would be fine if I were to send him any negative SEO sites that have been hit and send those directly to him. You guys can go ahead and ping him on Google Plus if you like, or you can send it through me. I cannot guarantee that doing that will have any benefit sending it through me whatsoever.
Wait, am I here?
Yeah, you're here.
Okay.
Awesome. So I was talking about the update on the 24th, or the proposed update. Did you want to mention why you thought that was?
Well, it might have been Panda, to be honest. From Diva Research, people are saying it's more Panda than Penguin. So I'm not exactly sure. I'm just curious, why don't you have any links to your sources or stuff?
Well, that would be something that an upstanding web citizen would do, and we've already established I'm not an upstanding web citizen. So.
Okay. Sorry about that. My cable vision knocked off, so Fios picked up. So I apologize.
Oh, no problem. And finally, here's another issue that I think is really important, is that, okay, fine, that's all well and good, whether it was Penguin or not. How do you fix it? Well, basically, I cannot confirm any cases of a pure disavow. Every single person who claims to have had a disavow, I say, fine, send me the URL, and they do, and I check, and they've all had link deletion. So it's not a pure disavow. It means you also apparently have to delete your links to get rid of Penguin, and also you have, and that's the over-optimized anchor text links you have to get rid of, my previous research tells me, and then you also have to wait for a refresh. So I find that, obviously hugely problematic for webmasters. Last time they had to wait for a year. God only knows how, the great spaghetti monster only knows how much longer this time they're going to have to wait. Of course, Google has claimed they're going to have a faster refresh cycle, but what they claim and what happens aren't always the same thing. Barry, do you have any comment about that?
I agree. This release has been pretty upsetting. I was honestly thinking that when Google would release it, they would go ahead and give us an update saying it's coming, in the next few hours. Expect it. It's rolling out in the next few hours, and this is going to be an update that is either a refresh or signals are added or it's going to make things faster. They've been very, very hush-hush about it. Like you said, days after they announced more details, but even those details were a mix of what's an update, what's a refresh, what's this, what's that. So I agree, and rolling it out over a few weeks makes it even more confusing for people, especially when they roll it out in conjunction with Panda rolling out over a few weeks and in conjunction with the Pirate update rolling out over a few weeks. So it is pretty upsetting to see this rollout happen now at this point, at the way they did it. I'm not sure if it was technical issues or if they're just trying to be immoral and evil, but I doubt it. That's
I don't. But you know what even makes it worse is that if it was, say, Panda and some other algorithm, like the page layout algorithm, that they were crossing over and releasing at the same time, that's not such an issue, because to fix the page layout algorithm and to fix Panda is to make your site better. And so you should be converting better when you do that. You should, there's all other kinds of tertiary and secondary direct benefits to fixing those problems. Penguin, not the case. Penguin, you have to go and spend money and spend time to go find the links that people have made to you or that you've made yourself, delete them, cost the money to delete them, damage your rankings in the process because these are the links that are propping you up, rightly or wrongly, and then wait maybe for a refresh. So it's a complete money suck. There is no benefit to the webmaster at all whatsoever to doing this except for obeying Google's rules. And so it's worse in that regard.
You said that the disavow doesn't work or you have no evidence that it does. I really don't think Google's lying to us. I really think it does work. But that's another thing. I think it should be fairly easy. Google said you don't have to manually remove links for the Penguin algorithm to pick it up. The disavow file will work. But obviously to wait a year plus for a Penguin refresh is pretty extreme. So
Definitely.
again, I don't know. I'm hoping this Penguin refresh does allow them to refresh it faster, and if that's the case, disavows will be a big business, which they already are, but it's going to be even a bigger business for SEO companies out there.
Yeah, now that's the weird thing, and it's not like so many different Google employees have said the disavow should work. And John Mueller has said it again and again to my face, and probably to your face as well. It's not like them to lie so blatantly. Usually they like to twist the truth to their own ends. And so it's really weird. Like, you should expect it to work, and I've got emails from John Mueller's, from various people, and from myself saying it should work. So I don't know what the disconnect is. Are they lying to John? Are they just telling John to say that? Did the engineering team not get the memo? Because I have checked well over a dozen sites at this point, and none of them can confirm that a pure disavow will work. If anybody out there claims to have proof that a pure disavow will work, I beg you, challenge you, implore you to send me that URL so I can check very quickly to see if they've had any link deletion. Because if they have, then we cannot say a pure disavow works.
That's really hard to prove.
It would be very hard to prove. I agree.
Okay. So I think in this case, taking Google's word for it, especially when they're saying specifically and outright that the disavow does work in this case. They've even said with Penguin 3, when it releases, there was a specific date or time frame when that disavow has to be updated by for that to take into effect. So they were very, very specific about the disavow and timing on that. So I doubt they're lying about that. So just my 2 cents.
Yeah, it's very weird. I agree. It would be uncharacteristic for that to be a lie, but again, I cannot confirm it. So there is evidence to the contrary as well. Matt Cutts has said publicly that they do not want to allow black hats to abuse the disavow file and just disavow their bad links and then be able to get out that way. And so he did say they were doing things to make it harder for them to do that. And so I don't know, it's not outside the realm of possibility. But another issue in Penguin that we should probably talk about as well is the negative SEO. Google has claimed that negative SEO first was impossible, then it was theoretically possible but unlikely, then it was send us any examples you find of it. I mean, that is a complete difference between all three things. And now people are complaining huge that there was negative SEO. I've got at least 3 people who've sent me sites with supposed negative SEO. I have no reason to believe they're lying, that they didn't make those links, or that they did make those links and saying that they didn't, and that they claim to have been hit by Penguin.
No, I mean, I do think negative SEO is a bigger issue these days. Google actually admits it is by their history and how they talked about it. And in the Black Hat forums, the ones you look at too as well, you see them like specifically saying, I'm doing a negative SEO on this company, I'm doing it. You see them like, what are the best places to work on it? You go to this website to buy links, you go to that website to buy links, these networks, what's the most effective way? And they talk about it openly in these forums to see how to perform negative SEO. And one person was actually talking recently, and I'll probably write about it in a week or two, maybe less, I don't know, maybe tomorrow, how he's being sued he's asking, could I be sued for performing negative SEO? He's not worried about Google, he's not worried about guidelines or whatever, he's more worried about can he be sued or not. So clearly people are doing it. If it's working or not, that's one thing. The perception in the community is definitely that it does work, which is something that Google has to address, in my opinion, even if it doesn't work. So there's 2 different things that it doesn't work versus what the perception is and how does Google fix that.
I think there's far too much evidence. I mean, ignoring all the other kind of negative SEO, link-based negative SEO is not the only kind. Ignoring all the other kind of negative SEO, I think there's far too much evidence to suggest that negative SEO does work. Of course, I did have that now infamous conversation with Cutts, and he did directly admit to me that negative SEO will work, link-based negative SEO will work, against sites that have been supposedly link spamming for years. They're kind of like a cottage teetering on the edge of a cliff, and you just put a couple more links at them, and they'll fall off, either from a manual penalty or from Penguin. So, in a nutshell, I think it's pretty clear. I think you may agree with this, may not. I think you probably would. I think they botched this release. I don't think Matt Cutts would have ever botched a release like this. In fact, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that maybe Matt was probably as critical as I have been of him in the past, maybe he's been one of our biggest allies for SEO, always making sure that the SEOs were informed or kept up to date as to what was going on. You know, maybe it's not a good thing. You know, a lot of black hats were applauding when he quit, or saying it was good that he quit, or took indefinite leave. By the way, it's October 29th, and this is the month he was supposed to come back. He's not back yet. I'll just remind everyone. I'll just put that out there. And on the 31st,
right behind you right now.
What was that?
He's standing right behind you right now.
I was really thinking. Anytime he comes to town, I'm like, Matt, you should come in to stand behind me, or we should do a joke or something like that. But you know, he doesn't listen to what I say anymore. He's muted me undoubtedly. For, you know, maybe I was annoying. I don't know. Maybe I was hyperbolic. People have claimed I'm hyperbolic. I don't know why they would claim that. Those bastard. So yeah. So I think they botched this release. And I think it's, you know, obviously highly unethical that not only do they make an algorithm that will hold sites down and disenfranchise businesses, but then they completely botched the release and the announcement of it. And did you have to come back early from your vacation, or did you come back at the regular time?
I can't come back early. I am offline. When I'm offline for a Jewish holiday, I am offline. I cannot come back.
Of course. So you come back early specifically to report on Penguin, because people were going ape crap.
No, as soon as I was able to come back online, I went back online and did my, you know, going through 20,000 emails, and then I saw a bunch of threads and stuff, and people going crazy.
Sorry, 19,000 of emails were for me.
Yeah. I think you did like a couple of Google Plus stories. But yeah, I emailed Google that night. Google got back to me the next day. I just think it wasn't. I think it's just the tech engineers not really communicating with the other people, and then just doing things on their own. I don't think it was done maliciously. I think it was just there was no coordination around it.
I think that in itself, negligence is malicious.
Okay.
I stumped you now. Booyah!
No, I understand what you're saying. I mean,
and I stumped you. Booyah!
There's different levels of that. So yeah, I don't think it was intentional. So I don't know if it was immoral, but I don't know if it was unethical, but it was definitely
unfortunate.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. I think if Matt Cutts was around, it wouldn't have been released this way.
I would hope not. That makes me hope he will go back, and at least I know a person with somewhat of a conscience is going to be there to protect us as best as possible. But I don't know. But going back to that point about negligence, I mean, a lot of, and this is another funny aspect to the story. So I posted my article, hyperbolic or not, called "The Penguin 3 Crisis," and some of the white hat or white hate cult, as I like to call them, got a hold of it and really started personally attacking me and asking where I did my master's degree and my PhD. Is it in art or something? I wasn't aware you could get a PhD in art. I mean, art history, obviously, but
why can't you get a PhD in art?
Paintings.
Are you insulting artists who have PhDs in art?
I suppose so. Yeah. So shows you what I know. But so they're really really personal vicious attacks. And my point is that people who are not affected by Penguin can be very glib about it. Oh yeah, it's no big deal. Yeah, those spammers, good. Get those spammers. But the people who are hit by it from negative SEO or are hit by it because of collateral damage or edge cases, who are even hit by it because they were doing link spam, who cares? They're human beings. They don't deserve to be damaged in this way. I don't see why the holier-than-thou, supposedly ethical white hat crowd gets to be so glib and cruel to people who are obviously hurting.
Okay.
What do you have to say about that, Barry?
I don't think it works that way these days. I think a lot of the white hats are somewhat in the grayer area. I think the black hats are no longer pure black. They're more in the grayer. I think there's more of a mix, and I think the ones you see who are pure white hat in the forums are the ones that really don't do SEO consulting work on a daily basis. I think they're more about running larger sites that have a nice link equity already, that just need a couple title tags to rank well. there are obviously a lot of expert SEOs in the Whitehead area that are able to analyze links and say, yeah, you're hit by a penguin or you have a manual action or whatever, and this is what you have to do to clean it up. And there's definitely a big space for that these days, which is really important. But I don't think it's just pure black and white these days anymore. So I wouldn't say they're – I mean, you're a target. We're all targets, but you're a big target for doing things that most people would not have done ethically.
Whatever do you mean, Barry? You mean opening my big mouth?
No. Telling Matt Cutts you would not release information that you did release because for ethical reasons.
Whoa, wait a minute. I did not release anything. At that point in the conversation when he said, this is going to stay between us, I nodded, I said, sure, and all that stayed between us. Except for one thing he said at the end, which is, and I quote, I want to put you SEOs out of business, end quote. That's the only thing I shared after that point of the conversation. He told me all kind of legal stuff, all kind of internal political stuff at Google. I didn't share any of that.
Yeah, I'm just joking with you. Okay, it's fine. So, yeah. Anyway.
You!
Where were we at?
Well, on that note, yeah, so I mean, this is, I really think it's unfortunate. Anyway, I think it's unethical. I think negligence is unethical. And when you're building a website for a client and the engineering team is not talking with the sales team, it's not that big of a deal. But it can be if you're wasting the client's money. It can be a big deal. When the Google engineering team and the PR team are not talking together and literally thousands of websites and thousands of businesses and the monetary ability for thousands of businesses to make their money is at stake, it becomes a big deal. And that's when negligence in handling the situation becomes, at that point, in my opinion, unforgivable. Anyway, that's my opinion. Barry, do you have any last words you want to say on it before we sign off?
There was a good blog post that the Ahrefs blog, it was called, let me bring it up. It was about like it was against the Halloween theme with the 20th most scary, 20 SEOs share their scariest moments of their careers. And it's interesting to read. I'll post it in the event so you can take a look at it. And it's interesting to read that because obviously what you're saying, and on some level, is a lot of these SEOs have gone through these penalties and lost their biggest clients or lost their biggest profiting websites and stuff like that. And at the same time, it's interesting to read how they worded it in terms of, is it Google's fault? Is it my fault? Is it the client's fault? So I definitely recommend reading that to get some perspective.
Cool. Some combination, I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, folks. Well, thank you for watching. This has been the SEO Friday show on Wednesday. I don't know why it's called that. With Barry Schwartz, eminent SEO reporter, and me, SEO loudmouth, Josh Bachynski. Tune in next time where we will discuss the Orca update. And there's this new secret update called Orca that Barry has been informed about from Google. And Barry will give us a lengthy dissertation on exactly how it works and how it can boost your website to easily make $1 million on Google. Isn't that right, Barry?
Sure, if you say so. I only sell it for $9.99 per month, so it's pretty cheap.
Ooh, nice. Do I still get my discount?
No.
Damn. All right, well, this has been the SEO Friday show with Barry Schwartz and Josh Bachynski. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Say bye, Barry.
Bye.
Bye.